Welcome back to the cryptowrld channel, everyone. My name is Josh, and right now Bitcoin is holding above this important line of support, and we're also forming some brand new patterns here on the chart that I'll be taking a look at in just a moment, and they give us some new price targets that we need to be paying attention to. So definitely make sure you're watching this video all the way to the end so that you're not missing out on any of this important information. And just before we jump into it, make sure to drop a like on the video down below, and if you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe with notifications turned on for more updates just like this every single day. But anyway, with all of that out of the way, let's get straight to what this video is about. It's right here on the Bitcoin US dollar chart on the 4-hour time frame. And as you can see here, Bitcoin was previously forming this bull flag pattern, and then we broke out to the upside above this point of resistance, and then we came back down for a retest to confirm this breakout to the upside. But obviously after that first initial retest, we dragged along this line for another 2 days before seeing the current bounce that we've just experienced. So technically speaking, we haven't necessarily failed this pattern just yet, because we are still holding above this line of support, which is right now coming in at just below 60,000 US dollars. But with that being said, we really need Bitcoin to actually bounce above this previous high just here to really confirm a proper bounce to the upside towards the all-time high. And in that case, that would be setting up the price target for this pattern, which by the way, the price target for this bull flag is coming in at around 83 to 84,000. But ever since Bitcoin has come back down for this retest over the past few days, the volume for Bitcoin has been declining, which is not necessarily a good sign, because you can see the last time that happened, that was right back here. And as you can see, Bitcoin had a move to the downside, and then we actually had a pretty decent bounce to the upside. But during that bounce, the volume was nothing spectacular. We actually stayed on pretty low volume. And so because we were getting no volume coming in to back up that move to the upside, it was easier for the sellers to step into the market and drag down the price of Bitcoin, which is exactly what we saw next when we saw an increase in volume that came with a move to the downside. Now, obviously that's not always the case. This is just one example that we've recently seen. But all I'm saying is if we do confirm a break further to the upside here, we need to see more volume coming in here, and preferably a new uptrend forming in the volume so that we can see more of a follow through to the upside. Because otherwise, if we're seeing extremely low volume, this bounce that we're seeing right now is not necessarily an overly bullish sign without the volume. But with that being said, looking at this chart pattern, this is the bear flag that I've been talking about over the past few days. And as you can see here, Bitcoin saw an initial move to the downside below this line of support. But once again, we saw no confirmation of that break to the downside, because first of all, we saw no major spike or surge in volume. The volume stayed declining. And on top of that, we came back up for a retest, and a successful retest would be something like that, where we confirm that level as resistance. And that would have been a way we could confirm this break to the downside. But obviously, we immediately failed the retest. We came back above this short-term line of support, which simply means that we haven't seen a confirmed break below this line just yet. But right now, it is coming pretty close to the current price at around 61,500 US dollars. So if we do see a move to the downside, once again, we need to see more volume coming in here to confirm a break to the downside, just like how we need the volume coming in if we see a move to the upside, because either way, on low volume, that is a sign to be skeptical of the current price action. And quite often, while we're seeing reduced volatility and declining volume, that is setting up the Bitcoin price for a volatile move pretty soon. And by the way, the technical price target for this pattern, if we do confirm a successful break below this line of support, the price target is coming in at approximately 55,500 US dollars. Now, taking a quick look at this chart just here, this is still on the Bitcoin 4-hour charts, but as you can see, we've got some other areas of support and resistance to pay attention to. For example, we've got this range of resistance coming in between 63 and 65,000 US dollars. But if you want more of a specific level, then around 63.7k is a level that I'll be looking at for resistance for Bitcoin to the upside. And as for support to the downside, of course, we've got huge support at around 60,000 US dollars, and anything below that, I'll be looking towards 58,000. And only just yesterday, we saw yet another successful bounce along that $60,000 level of support, like all of these previous times back here. So what we can see on this chart is obviously Bitcoin is just in a consolidation range right now. And then the moment Bitcoin finally breaks above an important line of resistance or below an important line of support, that is how I know that the Bitcoin price is beginning its next major move. And once again, obviously a break below support with confirmation would set up a move to the downside, and a confirmed break above resistance would set up a move to the upside. So that's why it's important to keep an eye on some of these important levels on the chart, and also keep an eye on the volume. And now speaking about some chart patterns, first of all, on this chart just here, we previously were forming an inverse head and shoulders pattern. As you can see, we saw the left shoulder, we saw the head and the right shoulder, and we initially broke out to the upside. But when we came back down for the retest, Bitcoin ended up failing that retest with a break back below the neckline, which invalidated this chart pattern. But with that being said, zooming into the 2-hour chart, what we can see here is another potential inverse head and shoulders pattern currently forming. We've already got the left shoulder, we've already got the head, and right now we're potentially forming the right shoulder. But at the time from this video, this pattern is not confirmed confirmed just yet. I want to make that clear because an inverse head and shoulders pattern does not confirm until we finally see the left shoulder, the head, and the right shoulder, and of course a break above the neckline. And by the way, this neckline is coming in at approximately 62.4k, and if we see the right shoulder form and a confirmed break above that neckline, that sets up a bullish price target towards 64.4k. So obviously that's not a huge move, but keep in mind we're only on the 2-hour chart. But speaking about inverse head and shoulders patterns forming on the Bitcoin chart, right here, this is the 4-hour Bitcoin chart, and this was the previous inverse head and shoulders pattern that I was just talking about earlier, but simply by expanding our view, utilizing the new price action that has formed since then, what we can see is we're actually forming a larger inverse head and shoulders pattern on the 4-hour chart. We've already seen the left shoulder, we've already seen the head, and right now we're in the middle of forming the right shoulder. What we need to see to confirm this pattern is of course a move up towards the neckline, which is right now coming in at just above 64,000 US dollars. And so obviously if Bitcoin can see that, if we can see a move up towards 64,000, and more importantly a confirmed break above the neckline, above 64k, then that sets up a price target at nearly 70,000 US dollars per Bitcoin, which from the point of the breakout to that price target, you're talking about an 8.5% move. But from the current Bitcoin price to that price target, you're talking about a 12% move, which is obviously a pretty decent opportunity. And once again, all we need to see is Bitcoin get above 64k with confirmation. And also we could find a bit of resistance at around the all-time high level, which is at around 67,000 US dollars. But then any higher than that, I'll be looking towards around 70,000 US dollars. And now here's a pattern that actually contradicts the last pattern, because this is a regular head and shoulders pattern on the 4-hour Bitcoin chart. And this pattern is not as big as that previous inverse head and shoulders pattern that we were just looking at, but this pattern is still forming, and it is still something to pay attention to if we do end up completing this pattern, which once again, right now, this pattern is not confirmed. I want to make that clear, but we have already seen the left shoulder, we've seen the head, and right now we are potentially in the middle of forming the right shoulder. What we need to see Bitcoin do to complete this pattern is of course a move down towards the neckline, coming in at approximately 60,000 US dollars, and a confirmed break below 60,000 US dollars would set up a bearish price target. And by the way, that price target is coming in at around 56,000 US dollars per Bitcoin, which from the neckline to that price target, you're talking about a 7% dip in the Bitcoin price. But even if something like that plays out, we still can't forget about these other areas of support, for example, at 58,000 and of course at 60,000, because as I just said, this pattern is not confirmed until we can finally see a break below 60,000 after forming that right shoulder. So because of these two patterns just here, the inverse head and shoulders pattern and the head and shoulders pattern, Bitcoin is truly in a deciding moment right now, because if Bitcoin starts to turn around here to the downside again, then that would potentially complete this head and shoulders pattern, which is of course a bearish pattern, and a move like that would invalidate this inverse head and shoulders pattern, compared to if right now Bitcoin decides to continue to the upside a little bit in the short term towards this neckline at around 64,000. In that case, that would complete this inverse head and shoulders pattern, which is a bullish pattern, and looking at the head and shoulders pattern, a move up towards 64,000 would look kind of like this, and obviously that sort of move would invalidate this head and shoulders pattern. So this is exactly what I'm looking at right now on the chart to potentially prepare for the next volatile move coming soon. It will really come down to what Bitcoin is doing over the coming hours or potentially over the next couple days. And if you want to get extra updates throughout the day, make sure you follow me over on my Twitter, because on my Twitter, I update you in real time as things are actually playing out in the charts. And from time to time, I also share other opportunities, like for example, trade signals or opportunities in the altcoin market, all completely for free. And you'll find a link to my official Twitter account in the description down below. And if you enjoyed this video or got something valuable out of it, be sure to leave a like down below. If you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe with notifications turned on so that you're not missing out on any of these future updates. I really do appreciate all of your support in the channel at the moment. I can't thank you guys enough. And before clicking off, especially for the new viewers on the channel that haven't seen these uploads already, if you're serious about making money in crypto, definitely make sure you check out these videos if you haven't already. But anyway, that is really everything I have to say for this video. I really hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you all in the next video.